I stood before the full-length mirror in the bathroom, a smile gracing my face. I appeared quite pleasing to the eye. At the age of 45, my figure remained slender with curves in all the right places. My defining feature was my ample yet still perky breasts. Though my hips had widened since my 20s, I maintained a flat stomach. Thankfully, my buttocks had not succumbed to sagging thanks to the efforts of my personal trainer. Adorned in my most alluring bra and panties, a lovely black lace set with sheer nylon, I knew this ensemble was more for my partner's pleasure than for mere lounging. As I prepared to dress, I pondered what Simon preferred. However, I swiftly dismissed such thoughts and instead slipped into the red dress that my husband adored. It was short, yet tasteful, revealing just enough cleavage to entice and capture attention without crossing into vulgarity. It was undeniably alluring to my husband. Taking a seat at the dressing table, I meticulously straightened my hair in anticipation of the grand evening ahead. I had spared no expense in getting my hair done, and the results were worth every penny. I applied a light touch of makeup, knowing that Simon favored this particular look and had complimented it as one of my best features. Over the course of our frequent lunches, our conversations gradually shifted towards more personal matters. Simon possessed an undeniable charm. Though the term may seem antiquated, it truly encapsulated his demeanor. He was my contemporary, always impeccably dressed, and exuded an air of sophistication reminiscent of actors from the classic films my husband adored. I refrained from mentioning his handsomeness. Simon possessed a strong jawline, a proud Roman nose, and the most captivating blue eyes I had ever beheld. His physique was a testament to his dedication to training, and it was through this shared interest that our relationship evolved from a simple professional collaboration to something more intimate. One day he complimented my fitness and inquired about my training regimen. This marked a turning point in our conversations as he began to shower me with flattery. I naively assumed that this was the typical beginning of workplace romances, innocent pleasantries, compliments on attire, mentions of hairstyle changes, and innocent touches. Little did I know that it would ultimately lead to the downfall of my previously contented marriage. Tonight, we had to elevate our casual relationship. Simon proposed going out for dinner and having martinis. It took me 2 days to agree. It wasn't that I was dissatisfied with my husband. I believe we had simply grown comfortable with each other. Simon was like a new addiction, a thrilling sensation that heightened my senses and left me craving for more. As I meticulously applied my makeup, a smile formed on my lips. I knew he would adore me in this state. I planned to captivate him completely, and I would not falter. I had to be flawless. My thoughts were interrupted by the sound of the garage opening. Joe was punctual, as always. He was a creature of habit. I had calculated everything. I knew precisely when he would enter the kitchen and realized that dinner was not yet prepared. He searched the first floor looking for me but found nothing. I wanted him to discover me dressed for an evening stroll through the city. It was a crucial part of my evening plans, the grand reveal. When Simon proposed a date, I understood its implications. We were not naive. He expected everything from me, and I intended to deliver. He had made reservations at my favorite restaurant. He had secured a table at my beloved jazz club for martinis, and the final touch was the room he had booked at the Hyatt. He couldn't invite me to his home. He, too, was married, and his wife would have been equally displeased, just like my husband. I knew Joe would eventually move past it. Our love was entirely secure. However, I couldn't keep it hidden from him. I knew I had to disclose my plans for the evening. My best friend Carla believed it was the most foolish thing I had ever considered. She seemed to think that Joe would never forgive me, although she didn't know him as well as I did until that moment. I had spent 23 years living with him, and I knew him like the palm of my hand. Joe called me, and I double-checked one last time. I had to be prepared when he entered the room. It was crucial to me that he saw me impeccably dressed, exuding an air of coolness and sensuality. I slipped into my heels and searched for a suitable handbag. Upon entering the room, I inhaled deeply and distanced myself from the closet, preparing to make my significant statement. "Hey, baby," he greeted with a wide smile. "Why are you all dressed up, Joe? I need you to sit down. I have something important to share with you, and it might be difficult for you to hear." He stared at me with a perplexed expression but complied, taking a seat by the window. Joe, this is how I've dressed for our date today. I want to give my partner the best of everything, from head to toe, mind, body, and soul. His countenance turned sorrowful, and I hoped I hadn't shattered his spirit too much. Darling, I began, mustering up the courage to continue. I've had lunch several times a week with a coworker named Simon. A tear trickled down his cheek. I had to gather my strength to proceed. No, we didn't have an affair. I never held his hand, embraced him, or kissed him. Joe buried his face in his hands, running his fingers through his hair, appearing defeated. He remained silent, his eyes fixed on me. Joe, he didn't say anything, I confessed. He invited me to have dinner with him tonight, and I'm being completely honest and transparent with you. He even booked a hotel room, and it took me 2 days to agree. I felt that it wouldn't be considered cheating if I informed you. He gazed out the window and asked, "Are you sorry it took so long, or sorry you agreed?" I let out a sigh. Joe, I've loved you for the majority of my adult life. Only you, I professed. I felt like I deserved a brief break from us. Does it make sense? Not really, he responded swiftly. I nodded in understanding. That's why I dress this way. I told you it's for my man. You're my man, Joe. You always will be. He looked at me, perplexed. I don't understand. You said this idiot booked the room, and you agreed. I confirmed, yes, I agreed, but I canceled the meeting earlier today. I was sitting at my desk and became aroused, but it wasn't because of Simon. I was looking at a photo of us on the beach in Cancun. You were shirtless, wearing your swim trunks. God, you looked so amazing. I approached him and embraced him from behind, Joe. I must confess my intentions and apologize for my foolishness. I had hoped that you could forgive my momentary lapse in judgment and perhaps invite me somewhere tonight. I mistakenly interpreted Simon's words as if they were meant for you and me, rather than for him. Initially, I sensed him take a deep breath. My love, what about Simon, the despicable person? I smiled and turned to face him. I contacted his wife and revealed everything. Simon now faces a greater predicament than my cancellation of our appointment. Did you agree? Nevertheless, I understand. I must live with this mistake. Please grant me mercy, I pleaded, and he scoffed. You only did it to alleviate your guilt. I fell to my knees. Please forgive me. I was foolish. He lifted my chin and uttered, I will forgive you, but you have betrayed my trust. I will never forget this. I understand. I will never give you a reason to doubt me again. Following this confession, I satisfied his desires in every position he desired. I obediently followed his commands and fulfilled every twisted idea that crossed his mind. We engaged in intense intercourse, as if he was punishing me for betraying his trust. At a certain point, we both moaned, and we reached the climax together. He pulled away from me and frowned. This will not fix our relationship. I knew that our intimacy or our date could not erase what had happened. A year later, the emotional pain still lingered. He was not quite the same as before, and I could sense it. The sex became slightly rougher. My phone was not always where I had left it, and on a few occasions I suspected he was following me. Breaking someone's trust is the gravest offense. It is akin to repairing a shattered plate. Although it may be fixed, it will never regain its original strength. I must live with this reality, and it is challenging. Some may argue that I should not have confessed, as it would only cause him pain. Others may argue that he should have divorced me, as I am prone to infidelity. It is difficult to dispute these claims, but I know myself. I know I will not succumb. I may have come close, but I emerged from it and closed that chapter. I will never repeat that level of madness again. Subscribe to our channel to ensure your second half remains faithful. Furthermore, proceed to indulge in the upcoming narrative as it pales in comparison to the subsequent one. If you are below 18 years old, refrain from even contemplating listening to the following story. Enjoy listening to the next one.